Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olga St. Pierre, and I am a real estate agent right here in our community. And I want to welcome you to our decluttering workshop this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we have a special treat for you as well. In addition to me sharing with you what my experiences are, I have one of my organizers that I always, my go-to resource, Cindy Wittenberg, is here as well to share her expertise and her knowledge with us as well. And if you have any questions, that you definitely fire away and ask. So just a little bit about me. I have been a licensed real estate agent serving clients in New Jersey and Pennsylvania for the last 11 years, going on 12 years. This is my full-time career. It is my passion. And our team mission is to help everyone with just some planning and a budget to become a homeowner. And then once you do become a homeowner, we're here to help you to be one that is a sustainable and a responsible homeowner. And our community workshops are a big part of what we do and how we help our community. And what I truly believe in is what you hear and see on social media as well as on TV. My goal is to help you understand how this relates to us in our local community, what is relevant to us, and how do we make it more approachable and understandable. So that's where we are today. We do have a great service where we can move anyone, you, your friends, your family, and coworkers anywhere pretty much in the United States and Canada. We have state-of-the-art relocation services, so please don't hesitate to let us know how we can assist you. And of course, our concierge service is we're happy to help you with contractors, with stagers, with organizers to help you get your things out of the attic. Anyone you can think of that pertains to you being a homeowner or making other plans that involve your real estate, we are here to help you. So we are today your virtual, basically yellow pages. But so don't hesitate to reach out to us for any assistance, any help, or any recommendations that you may be looking for. All right. So let's jump in. Why are we talking about decluttering? Here's a couple statistics that I want to share with you that when I was doing the research for this workshop, now going on almost 2 years, these statistics still apply and they're just still as relevant. Let me know if you agree with me. 80% of what we own, we rarely use. Does that kind of resonate with you, right? I think if you think about it and you look around you, and when we're done tonight, if you look around your home, you probably are going to agree with me. We actually spend an average of 55 minutes a day looking for things, right? So there are actually companies out there that now making money on us because we're looking for things, right? Like where you can put a little tile on the back of your remote or your keys. And then if you can't find it and you're running around looking for your glasses and so forth, you can actually find it because you push a button and it's going to ring somewhere in your house, right? So there's now actually business around those of us who are looking for things. And when you put that in perspective, that is full 2 weeks out of the year when we're actually looking for things. That's 2 weeks of vacation, right? And the third statistics that I was so excited when I saw it is decluttering can reduce your housework by up to 40%. Raise your hand if you are for that, because I certainly was, and I was so excited. You know, I think that if we can do some of these things and it will help us to have a peace of mind, it maybe have us have less stress and less aggravation. That is what I'm looking for when I'm, with my family. And so the goal today, what we're going to talk about is why decluttering is not just something fun to do. It is not something that is hip and cool right now, but it's actually critically important for your emotional and for your physical health. Some room by room suggestions. There's a great guide that I'm going to provide you in this handout where the things that you're going to keep, sell, throw, and donate, where, how, and what. And hopefully when we're done, you're going to walk away with an action plan to help you get started. It does not have to be complicated. It really does not have to be overwhelming. And this is what I'm here to share with you. And I'm certainly going to ask Cindy to chime in and also help me out and make it as manageable as possible. So why are we talking about decluttering? Here are some of the questions that I heard when I was talking to my clients. We don't know where to start. It grows if it's left alone over time. We all have stuff. And as you know, paper comes into our house every day, Monday through Saturday. So if we don't get a handle on it on the regular basis, those piles are just going to grow and grow and grow. And also people are saying, well, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to keep. I don't want to throw things away. What if I'm going to need them, right? How long am I keeping stuff for, right? So what I want you to think about is the stuff, the things that are in our life are actually affecting our happiness, our health and productivity on two levels. One is a conscious, the other one is a subconscious level. And the easy way for me to explain to you what a subconscious level is the things that we do on a autopilot, right? When we get up in the morning, we get things moving and we automatically go and brush our teeth, and then we go in to the kitchen and we put our coffee pot on. We do it automatically because it has become such a big part of our lives that we do it every day on a regular basis. But then you get your coffee going and open up the refrigerator and you have no milk. You actually have to stop yourself and say, wait a minute, I ran out of milk. That is something that you're doing on a conscious level, where you have to stop what you're doing and write yourself a note. The next time you go to the grocery store, you need to get milk for your coffee. And now you're not comfortable because it's not, you know, part of your process. So that is a conscious level. And it has been proven with many, many resources and research papers that clutter will weigh you down. And also it can absolutely be a source of stress, depression, health issues, where if your bedroom is cluttered, you may not be sleeping well, family problems and home disrepair. The last two I see quite often when I'm working with my clients in my real estate business, where a wife will tell me, Olga, I'm ready to go. I'm just going to donate a bunch of stuff. We're not taking half of it. I actually have clients right now who are told me, Olga, we're bringing the TV, we're bringing the bed, and we'll bring our dog. That is it. Everything else is going to trash. And I'm loving this because both husband and wife are on the same team. But the challenge becomes is when the wife is good, but the husband is like, well, wait a minute, I'm not ready to throw this stuff away. I want this, I'm going to keep this. And then we're having tension, we're having issues. And home disrepair, when things are hidden behind boxes and paper and furniture, you have critters who absolutely love wood and paper. And when critters live around for a while, they can do severe damage to your wires, to your electrical, and to your home. So you have repairs, and some of them can be costly. That can be an issue for your home. So as clutter accumulates, your energy is going to stagnate, right? When you look around your home and you realize that, yes, I'm going to declutter and this is why you guys are here, it kind of puts a damper on your mood, right? And that is what we're talking about. It's affecting, it truly is affecting us. And I'm hoping that at least one of the things that you take away from today is that, you know, decluttering is not just something fun and hip to do, but I actually think it's essential for our well-being, okay? So I think because all of you guys are here, this is one of the most popular workshops that I do on a monthly basis, because I really truly believe it's just so important for all of us to just have a healthy and less stressful lifestyle, right? And that's what I truly think that decluttering is all about. So let's jump right in. Here's what I'm suggesting to you. Your plan is you are that person with that red cape in a top right-hand corner, okay? Here's the plan, and we're starting small. And the most important thing, and I think Cindy will agree with me, is you just need to start, right? So number one thing, a lot of experts recommend that you set aside an hour. And if you think it's too much and it's overwhelming, then don't. Then give yourself a 30 to 45 minutes, right? We're going to schedule an appointment. The appointment is with yourself, just like you would schedule an appointment with your doctor, or you're going to go see your attorney. Okay, so number one is you need to put all of your things on silent mode. No phone, no bling, no chiming, no nothing, right? Our phones, I think, are huge distractors. So I'm just asking you to make sure that you mute everything so that way you're focused for that period of time. And yes, you will need a timer. And I recommend that you can use one from in the kitchen. If you're working, you can use your microwave or your stove, or just grab a regular kitchen timer, right? The one that you turn on and it's going to tick as the time goes by. Next, you are going to change into comfortable clothing, because the good news, guys, is when you declutter, you're going to be moving things around. You are hauling boxes back and forth. You're going to work up some sweat. So to me, decluttering is a workout. So when you try to do a couple things at one time, you're getting results. To me, is a win-win. It's a bonus, okay? Next, you do need to eat, and you need to have some water while you are working, because you will get hungry. And no, you cannot pause to grab something to eat because you will never then go back to your 1 hour allotted time. So my suggestion to you is grab something to eat and then make sure you have a bottle of water with you, because when you're running around and you are, sweating and you're working out, you're going to need some water. Then put on some music, make sure that you're happy in your allotted time as well as in the space, and open the window and make sure that you are enjoying yourself. I often get questions as to where to start, and my suggestion to you is start in the room. If you're trying to do everything in your house, right? Your goal is to declutter as much as possible. My suggestion is start in the house, that a part of the house that is your favorite, right? Think about your favorite room and start there. Next, I'm encouraging you, I'm a big note taker and with notebooks, I'm encouraging you to grab a notebook and use that for jotting down notes, reminders, and plans. And I'm going to ask you some questions at the end that you can use to kind of put your plan together. And it has been proven in research as well that when you write things down, it helps your brain to think that you are making plans and you're moving forward. And whenever you're feeling that you're moving forward and you're creating that positive energy and you're moving forward, it's always a good thing. So let's talk about a couple things that you're going to need, right? We need to prepare our tools. Here's a couple of recommendations for you: trash can and recycle can, storage bins. If you don't have bins, you can use boxes, right? Here's some suggestions for you. You can actually put sticky notes or like little signs that are on the photo, post-it notes in different colors for labeling. And there's your labels: put away and keep, donate, undecided, throw away, and sell. The goal is for your first time when you're doing this is to put something in every box, right? We're not going to put everything in undecided box because that is not the goal for what we're doing. Okay, we're going to put a little bit in every box, and that is the goal, is to focus on one room or one corner of the room, depending on how much stuff you have to go through. Okay, a couple of things to keep in mind. We're going to items that make you happy, bring you joy, that make you smile, and support your vision of where you're going. And we're going to release and get rid of the things that are part of your past that were not making you happy, that were, you were feeling guilty and sad. Okay. And if you're not sure about certain things and you put them in an undecided pile, make sure that you use your notebook to write your notes. For example, if you want to give something to your nephew or your niece or your uncle or your aunt, you need to write it in your notes. This way you don't forget, and it's part of your follow-up plan on where you're going next, okay? Then the goal is to stay focused for your time block, right? And once your 30 minutes or an hour is up, if you feel like keep going, then go for it, right? If you don't and you say, you know what, this is 1 hour, it's good enough for now, that's great. You can stop, pat yourself on the back, have some ice cream, whatever makes you happy. And then I want you to think about when you're going to plan your next session, right? The goal is to do a little bit at a time. So think about what you have accomplished, what you want to accomplish next, and then when your next time that you're planning on resuming is going to be. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing, right? Let's talk about a couple of rooms in your home, all right? Number one is kitchen, okay? My recommendation is please don't tackle the whole kitchen all at once. Start with a couple of drawers and then move on. If you did 2 drawers and you have the energy to keep going, then please do. Okay, don't forget to also work on your refrigerator. It's super important that you're not eating expired food, right? Here's a good guideline for you of where you can put the things in your refrigerator. And the goal is to keep the same types of products in the same spot, right? You can put your condiments on the doors. This way, if you're starting to run low on those products, you know exactly where they are and you can put it on your list. So having an organized refrigerator is also helping you make sure that you're not wasting food, which means you're also going to be saving money. Use clear glass storage containers. Refer to a food storage guide frequently, because just because the food does not have an expiration date does not mean that it lasts forever, right? So we want to be cognizant about those things. Go through your cups, serving utensils. Really, truly, how many cups do you need? How many forks and spoons? I'm also going to encourage you to go through your cooking utensils, like your spatulas and your whisks and inspect them for damage. We don't realize that those things get old and they start to crack and chip with age. And then those things end up in our food and we definitely don't want to eat them. So here are some suggestions for you for some of the storage things that I actually use in my own house and some other clients have suggested to me. You can easily find all of these products on Amazon if you don't feel like going to the store. You can order them. And also the goal is to get these products and think of them as investments, right? You're investing for making your home run more efficiently. So that way you do this one time and hopefully you keep at it, right? Like for example, like the lid organizer or the pot and lid organizer and things like that. All right, let's jump into baths. Okay, number one, please throw away the products that you don't use or like, or old things, right? And I am just as guilty because marketers spend a lot of money to make creative packaging that looks really pretty. And sometimes we buy it just because it looks really pretty, right? Well, the goal is that all of those products ultimately have chemicals in them, right? Because we don't refrigerate a lot of the bath products, right? You don't keep your creams or your lotions in the refrigerator, which means that the chemicals are in your products to make sure that your products don't go bad, okay? The same thing with old medicine. Check the expiration dates and you can drop them all, the old medicine, in to the police departments as well. I know that CVS and some Walgreens take them as well. My suggestion also is set up your everyday items and group them, right? So everything that you use every day, you group, and you can use plastic bins to group those products and also organize them by your morning and evening routine. The things that you use every morning, the things that you use every evening, right? And don't forget about your makeup. We're always guilty. You have to go through your makeup on a regular basis. And when I was doing my research, things were like anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on what it is they're using. Simplify things. Don't overthink them. My suggestion to you is every 6 months, toss things and then buy new ones, right? So we're heading into the holiday season to take advantage of some of these specials in December and January, and maybe use that as your purchase point to help you in your planning, right? Every December you're going to purge, and then every July, right? That is your every 6 month mark, you're going to purge in the summer, okay? And here again, there's some suggestions for you on how to help you organize your under the sinks better, some things to use, hanging on the doors, plastic stackable food storage bins, you can use them in the bathroom as well. Bedrooms. It is your peaceful place, as I mentioned to you earlier. If you have bedroom full of stuff, I guarantee you, you're feeling guilty. Feeling guilty means that you have that guilt running in the back of your mind, in your subconscious on the regular basis, and never stops. And you know what happens is that it takes for brain and mental effort and energy to ignore that clutter. That means it's draining on you. So if you're not sleeping well, take a look around in your bedroom and see if it's cluttered. Okay, so what we're talking about here is maybe getting a little bit better about organizing our closets. Right, so if you look at your clothes, here's my suggestion for you. Okay, the gurus on TV are saying if you haven't worn it in 6 months, toss it. I thought that was a little too drastic even for me, and I don't have a problem throwing most things away. So let's do this, okay? 2 years, right? If you haven't worn something for 2 seasons, right? 2 winters, 2 summers, then you're probably not going to wear it again. So a couple of thoughts. If it's out of style, if it's stained, torn, or in bad shape, you don't like it, if it's too small or too large, it's time to donate those products. Definitely organize your space better, especially if you have a small closet in your home. Use all the space from top to bottom. Look at this closet that I saw someone organize. This is what it was like before. Look at how amazingly they did and used up every corner of that closet to make sure you can maximize. I don't know why people don't divide up the closet space into 2, where you can hang your blouses on top and you can hang your skirts and pants on the bottom. But the Closet Made has tons of organizer kits that you can find at Home Depot and Lowe's. And you can also find them on Amazon if you don't want to head to the stores nowadays. All right, living room and family rooms. My recommendation to you is start with your bookcases because we all have them. Outdated and unwanted books can head to the library. If there's textbooks, encyclopedias, and old magazines, I am told that libraries don't want them, so please go ahead and recycle them. Go through your electronics and cords, go through your pillows and blankets, right? Go through your pictures. Here are some, just little guidelines for you when you're walking around. If this is the room that you're looking in, start from one corner, right? If you want to look at it at 9 a.m. on the left, and you go around and you work all the way around that room until you're done, okay? Home office. All right, we're talking about paper. Remember, the mail gets delivered to our house, whether we like it or not, Monday through Saturday, except for holidays, which means that you absolutely have to stay on top of your papers, okay? You can recycle everything that is old. And also remember that it has been proven that paper, oh my God, does that attract dust or what? And more people are becoming allergic to dust. So if you are in your home and you're not sure why you have a runny nose and you're maybe constantly coughing and sneezing and you're not sure what's going on, think that maybe some of the dust that you have in your home could be a culprit, right? As much as we clean, we don't vacuum everything in our home. We don't vacuum papers in our home, and it could be a culprit if you're not feeling well. What I do recommend is for you to file away and scan important documents. You can get yourself an inexpensive scanner, or even that's part of a printer. You can use Dropbox, that is free. If you have Gmail, you will definitely have Google Drive, which is absolutely free. Think of those as your virtual filing cabinets, but instead of only having maybe 3 drawers, you have 500 drawers, and you have a very, very large amount of space for you to store your documents digitally. If you want to clear your email, I encourage you to use Unroll Me tool, where it will help you unsubscribe you from unwanted emails, because sometimes they're just become really overwhelming. This is how I sort my incoming mail to get it under control, and then I take care of it every week on Saturday when I'm doing my household bills and so. 3 piles to go through, shred, and recycle. That is it. Don't complicate it any more than that. The things that are in recycle go into a paper shopping bag that then gets put out with my recycling every Thursday. And then the things that are shred actually go into another paper bag, and then I shred everything once every few weeks or so, because I have my own shredder. For junk mail, here's a good website for you to go in and opt out. Just be understanding that just because you do it once does not mean that everything is going to stop. Unfortunately, this is something that you're going to have to maintain on a regular basis, unfortunately. All right, garage and basement. I have seen this time and time when working with clients. The goal is to utilize both of those spaces, as much of your wall space as well as ceiling as possible. People don't think the fact that you can use the space in your garage that is above your head, right? They make these overhead garage storage racks that you can mount them. They're heavy duty, and then you can use clear totes and put things in there that you use once a year, whether it's holiday decorations or your fishing gear, maybe your kids' equipment, everything and anything. And these things are off the floor and you know exactly what's there, okay? A couple of suggestions. Again, you need to sort through what's in your garage and group them as well. We can designate zones for storing items that you're planning on keeping, right? Whether it's things that for the car or for the gardening or sports equipment for kids. Definitely use clear plastic totes, and use these great garage organizers that you can hang even in your shed to keep your tools, or you can hang just about anything on them. And the goal is to get everything off the floor, right? Because ultimately, in my opinion, the garage should be used for storing your car, because the car is the second biggest investment if you are a homeowner. So that's my suggestion. All right, a couple more things, and then Cindy, I'm gonna ask you to jump in, so be ready. Okay, here's what we're talking about in terms of keeping. I get this question all the time, and it has to do with important papers, okay? So for paperwork, a couple of things that I'm going to ask you to invest in. Number one is an inexpensive shredder. This is the shredder that I use myself in my home office, and you need trash bags, okay? Because from what I understand, because there's ink on the paper, you cannot recycle it. So everything that you shred needs to go into the trash. What are you shredding? anything that has your name, has any kind of account number, social security. If you're not sure if it should be shredded, go ahead and shred it anyway, just to make sure that you're not having any issues with identity theft, because it does happen quite often. This slide, I encourage you to print it. If you're not able to print it, please let us know. We will mail you a copy of this in addition to just the regular workbook. But this is a very important slide because it addresses the common question on what paperwork should I keep and for how long, okay? So the first couple of categories, I'll really let you read yourself, but the most important one is at the bottom. It is called Keep Forever, okay? I am encouraging you to invest into a safe. Actually, I'm not even recommending a safety deposit box anymore because you have to get into the bank to do that. So I encourage you to purchase a safe. You can buy one inexpensively at Home Depot, Lowe's, or somewhere online, and it can be under $100. And these important papers have to be kept in a safe, because if God forbid something happens to your home, some of these papers cannot be replaced, or if you have to go to a government agency, it may take forever to replace and you need them sooner. And here's a good list for you to what that means in terms of keep forever and keep these items in the safe. Anything that has to do with a mortgage, deed, diplomas, your wills, your adoption papers, power of attorneys, birth and death certificates, anything that is important to you that you want to make sure does not get lost or damaged goes in this safe. So this is one of the most important slides in this whole workbook that I encourage you to study and implement because it is critically important. All right, the next topic is what we're actually talking about is throwing away, selling things. What are we doing with our stuff, right? So this list here is really good, and you are going to get a copy of all of these suggestions when we get the copy of this workshop booklet for you. But right now, I actually wanted to invite Cindy. I'm going to stop sharing. And I wanted to invite Cindy just to tell us about how long you've been helping people organize their lives. And, you know, maybe just share with us tell me if there's anything I'm missing, maybe that I haven't covered that you think is important, maybe some of the mistakes that people make, and just tell us that organizing is not a bad thing. It's totally awesome and okay.
Thanks, Olga. I've kind of been doing this my whole life. I kind of have always been an organized person, and I've been the person in the family that other family members would call when they needed help with something. So it seemed like a natural thing to choose when I decided what I wanted to do when I grow up. I've been doing it professionally, well, I don't know, part-time for about 10 years, full-time for about 3 years. My advice to people, I am an organizer. I help people organize their homes to make them more functional. My biggest advice for organizing your home is if you feel overwhelmed, start small, like you already said. And I'm very systematic about the way I organize. But most important, I think, is to create a home for everything. If everything always has a place and you're religious about keeping things in their place, then you'll never have to search for something because you'll know where to go to always get that item. So a lot of what I do with people is, in helping them organize their space, is to create spaces for everything, even down to little things. Where do you put your car keys when you walk in the door? You know, those are very often the things that get misplaced most easily. I am also a downsizer. I help people get their houses ready to sell. I help people process through decades of belongings. And that's even more overwhelming than just sort of organizing your space, because moving is very stressful in and of itself. What my biggest advice for people who are getting ready to sell their home and they know they need to get rid of a lot of stuff, start early. Give yourself a lot of time. It takes much longer than you think it does. Don't let things wait till the last minute. The more you can get done early, the less stressful the end will be when you're trying to deal with home inspections and if you have to make repairs to your home. And you know, you don't want to be dealing with trying to get rid of things that you could have done a year earlier, down at the last minute when you're trying to pack up your moving truck. And I've been there with people. I was there last week with people who waited till the last minute to get rid of things when the moving truck was literally in the driveway. So that's my biggest advice. Olga, you've got great information here. I'm nodding my head a lot of times. When you're organizing a room, what I like to say, I love all your bins. Those are fabulous. I like to encourage people, if putting something, if you've got stumping in the room that doesn't belong in that room and it's a nearby space that you can put it away, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, don't leave your area. And that's what I like about the bins. Have a bin for things that need to go in other areas. If it's like all the way upstairs, don't go all the way upstairs to put it away, because I speak from experience. This happens to me too. I go to put it away in my closet or something, and I notice something out of place in my closet. So I get distracted doing something there. And the next thing you know, it's a half an hour later and you haven't been back to the room where you were initially working. So put a bin that says, goes elsewhere, and put the things that need to be put away there. And then when your timer's up and you're done with that designated time, grab that bin of things that needs to get put away elsewhere and just take a quick trip through the house, putting things where they belong. That way, I don't like to feel overwhelmed when I'm done. I like a nice tidy package. So if you have a trash bin, it goes out. If you have recycling stuff, throw it out in the recycling bin. If you have stuff that belongs elsewhere, put it away elsewhere. Try to take care of as many of those bins. If you have stuff that needs to, be returned to a store, if you have stuff that can be donated, go ahead and stick it out in your car. And I love your notebook idea. I love taking notes about things. If you've got something that you would love your great niece to have or something, write that down and give her a call. Ask her if she wants it. A lot of people get hurt feelings when they feel like they're going to be passing these treasures down to family members and they find out that the family members really don't want them. It's a burden on the family members. They feel guilty telling you, no, I'm sorry, I don't want that. And it's a burden on you to be carrying stuff for years and years that they ultimately aren't even going to want. So I always tell people, start a dialogue with your family members. I'm getting ready to downsize my home and I want to get rid of a lot of stuff. If there's anything you want, please let me know now. As soon as you can start getting those things out the door to the kids and the grandkids and the nieces and the nephews and the sisters and any family members, go for it. Clear out. The more, the earlier, the better. That's about it.
Do you have a suggestion on where someone would start? Because my idea was start in your favorite room. But is there, from a professional standpoint, is there a better room in the house to start with if you're trying to, at some point, tackle, your whole home is eventually going to be a whole project?
When I work with people, I do a free initial consultation and we talk about everything. They walk me through the house and they show me the big picture. And very often when it comes down, okay, let's get started, I ask several questions, one of which is, what bugs you the most? Is there an area that's really driving you crazy that you really need help with? Let's start there. I also say, okay, let's do what I call the low-hanging fruit, the easiest stuff to get rid of. Let's get rid of trash. Let's get rid of, maybe you don't have as much of an emotional attachment to clothing. So let's start there. Let's weed through that and do all the donations of clothing. So sometimes it's got to do with a particular item like clothing or books or things that you can really tackle quickly. Other times, the things that take longer are the emotional things, the photographs, things like that. I'd say, let's hold on to that for later and we collect them all together, and that's a later project. Because going through decades of stuff is very emotional for people. And that's why I tell people start early and why it takes longer than you think. Because it's very, very emotional. And I think people are caught off guard about that. But if you're younger and you just want to get your space in order, start where it's driving you the most crazy, or I pick a corner, and I'm the, like you said, you start in one corner of the room and you work your way around through the full room, soup to nuts. So it has a lot to do with the person's personality as to where we start.
You know what I found when you said start early? I tell this to everyone because people don't really realize until they start going through their stuff how much stuff they have accumulated over the years, right? And
Mhm.
tell them, even if you're not planning on making a move and you just want to do some decluttering, that is the first thing we always tackle. Always. So starting as early as possible, I think doing a little bit every week is never a bad idea. But I also wanted to ask you, what do you think in your experience are some of the most difficult things to get rid of?
Very often it's, well, photographs, old family mementos, things that were passed down from your parents or your grandparents that maybe they made you feel like you're the keeper now of the family history and it's up to you to take care of it, and then it's up to you to pass it along to the next family member that's going to take care of it. um, I happen to be my family genealogist. I'm the one who cares about all the family history and that. So I told family members, look, if you've got something like that and you've got the story to go with it, give it to me and I will be the keeper of those items. Other family members are really, they can't be bothered. It's not important. It's, living life, and the people you're with now are the most important thing. And the stuff really is just stuff. Um, I also say, look, if you don't have someone to pass it on to, if it's important to you, take a photograph of it and donate it. Maybe it has some sort of local historical significance that maybe your local historical society would like it, or maybe it's something that's of a broader historical significance that maybe some broader group might be interested in having. I would explore different avenues for those kinds of items. But yeah, family history is the toughest thing. um, Childhood items, those can be very tough too, or your children's items. I have a
Mhm.
lot of grandparents that are holding on to things that they have memories of their kids wearing that or playing with that. Um, and that's great for a while, but after a while, your kids might say, why on earth did you hold on to that stuff forever? So that's why I say have conversations with your kids, as early as when they're teenagers. I had 3 children, 2 of whom were very cut and dry about getting rid of stuff. And one of whom, at the age of 2, would tell me that he's saving his toys for his grandchildren. Everybody has different personalities in regards to their stuff and to what's important to them. And it's just important to be honest with yourself and to talk with your family members to make sure that, you're not tromping on somebody else's feelings and memories, but you're also being realistic about, we have just so much space. And I personally love to get rid of stuff because I hate dusting. So I'm very
Yeah,
motivated. The less stuff, the less I have to clean kind of perspective.
I agree with you. What do you think about furniture? This is some of the conversations that I'm having with some of my current clients where it's big and bulky, and I tell them that you need to consider getting rid of it sooner than later because different generations, especially now, the newer generations, they don't care about the bulky furniture. Is that what you're seeing in your experiences too?
Yes, definitely. Furniture, certain genres, like really old, like Victorian style or dark wood furniture, is not popular anymore,
Mhm.
unless you've got do-it-yourselfers that want to paint, take it and fix it up. But even so, a lot of the carving or mid-century modern furniture, however, has a new renaissance. I mean, people are really fascinated by that. I know that my 20-something kids are interested in that style. So it really kind of depends on the type of furniture. Um, Upholstered furniture is tough because fabric holds on to smells, it holds on to dust.
Mm.
It gets kind of gross after a while. So that's harder. A lot of that ends up having to get thrown out. But if it's a special piece and you're willing to take the time to cover it, that's great. But yeah, start with the big pieces. Again, talk to your kids. Do they want it? Okay, great. Then they need to make sure that they step up and they make a plan to retrieve that item or figure out how it's going to get transported from your home to their home. Um, and talk to different organizations that might take furniture, because a lot of them will take certain things, but they won't take others. It can be hit or miss. It can be tough.
Awesome. Before we wrap up for a question and answer session, is there anything else that you would like to add as a last tip? Anything to help those who are on this workshop to tackle this? You know, I always tell people it does not have to be complicated if you start little, right? One drawer, right? One corner at a time. Anything else that you may want to add as the last thing?
No, I think that you're right. Start small. It doesn't have to be overwhelming if you give yourself enough time, if you start early enough. And to hit that junk drawer in the kitchen. Everybody's got that drawer that just is a magnet for every random stray thing. But again, have a plan as to hopefully most of it ends up in the trash. And no, if you haven't used it in a few years, you really aren't going to use it. You go ahead and toss
That's right. So yeah, I thought my 2-year rule wasn't so bad, right? You know, it's not that overwhelming or stressful.
Very fair.
All right, everybody, if you have some questions, you're welcome to put in the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourselves, take advantage of the fact that my organizer is on and ask away. We have some time left before we wrap up for the night. All right, let me see. All right, so Jessica mentioned that there are some wildlife refuge offices that accept and recycle mascara wands to help animals. So we're happy to put you in touch with her. That's pretty cool. That's something new that I didn't know about. So we can definitely point you in the right direction. And Angela says that she has some questions about how to get rid of certain items. In my workbook that I cut it short a little bit to make sure that Cindy has enough time. I actually have a list of places where you can donate suits and books and certain items, as well as places where you can scan your photos. So I have an extensive list that I will share with you. That is just something that I didn't cover because I wanted to make sure that Cindy had enough time to share her expertise.
The items, hi, this is Angela.
Hi.
The items where I get frustrated is I want to get them off the property. So it's not suits and things. I go to Goodwill, I go to Good Stuff, all the time, but it's the paint and all the things that you need a certain day of the certain year. And I can't get rid of them. And then I never know where I can take these things. So there's so many items that, when you're in the mood to get rid of them and get them off the property, doesn't align with the one day of the year that might be available. So you end up just pushing them into another pile somewhere else.
That is frustrating, waiting for household hazardous waste day. They are latex paints, however, you have to save them for household hazardous waste. Pop the top off. If it's empty enough that it'll just dry out, just let them dry out. If it's a little more full, like halfway or higher, you can use sort of a clay kitty litter and pour that in, and it will absorb the paint. And once it's solid, then you can just stick the dried out paint cans or the solid kitty litter full cans right in the regular trash. So that does help with that. But everything else, oil paints and solvents and all that stuff, does need a household hazardous waste day. I always try to keep my eyes peeled for that, to stay on top of those things in my house.
Yeah, our county has them twice a year, and because it's so rare, I truly feel like you take a look. I actually will look it up in the beginning of the year because I always make a point to tell my clients when that's happening, exactly for the same reason that you're mentioning. And I tell them, you need to put it on your calendar, and then you need to create a corner in your shed or a garage, and you put all that stuff there. And either you or your husband or your children or whoever, someone is making it over there on that day, and you're taking all that stuff over because it's so rare. It's only twice or 3 times a year. So I would just encourage you to be vigilant and put it on your calendar and make sure that you're accumulating those things. And that also applies to electronic recycling as well, right? Because we can't put TVs anymore to the curb. Everything has to be recycled properly. So old VHS players, the tapes, the DVD players, TVs, monitors, old laptops, all of that has to be recycled properly. So those are the best resources.
And one other quick question, and I'll give the time to someone else, is we want to get value for these things. We feel like this has value, I can sell it. But then you spend months on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, pushing it around the house. Wait, I just ran into this where I had a bunch of items listed. I literally brought them to donation on Saturday after posting them for 2.5 months. They're like, is that table still available? I was like, you've
Yeah.
got to be kidding me. So how do you keep from getting stuck in the trap of, well, if I can get the money for it, and I haven't found a good place to get rid of stuff for other than donating.
No, that is a tough thing, and I get in that trap a little bit myself. I think give yourself a time limit. I'll advertise it for this long. If it doesn't sell by then I'm just going to release it to the universe and let a charity perhaps recoup the money for it. Or it becomes a hobby. If you have the room to store it and you just feel like you want to do that. I mean, I used to be a big Craigslister. I always had, I don't know, 20 items on Craigslist at any given time. But then, I'm too busy. I just don't have time to do all that kind of stuff. So you really just kind of have to weigh the time that you're putting into it. Is it worth the $5, the $10, the $20, whatever you're going to get for it? You have to just kind of weigh that and see what's worth your time.
Thank you.
JC has a question about organizing your photos aside from Google Photos. You know how on your phone you can have them organized if you have a Google account? The question is there something else that can be used?
I am afraid I am very low tech when it comes to photos right now. I'm not at the point where my photos are all on my screen and able to be manipulated like that. I was a very good photo scrap album maker, so mine are all in little albums, except for some of the older ones, the older family things. So what I find the easiest thing to do for a project is a lot of your photos that if you have the actual physical photos in boxes, a lot of that stuff, I would even venture to say maybe even half of those photos are something they're garbage. They're either a strange photo that you're caught off guard, or people that don't know, or duplicates, like multiple of the same kind of thing from different perspectives. I would just do a quick go through, aiming for the lowest, the low hanging fruit, the stuff that you can easily get rid of. And then I would separate it by year, by family group, by, the different categories that your photos might fall in. As far as online, I'm afraid I don't have a whole lot of advice there because I really don't utilize those tools. That is on my bucket list of goals, to things to get more savvy about so that I can help my clients with that better technology for keeping photos. I did finally get our old home videos put on CDs, so I was pretty excited about it.
That's awesome. JC, in my workbook that's a little bit further towards the end, I make some suggestions that if you have physical photos, like Cindy mentioned, there are online companies, including Costco, where you can send them all the photos and they will scan everything for you. And they can put it on the CD, they can put it on the little stick, which is USB, and you can keep them on your Google Drive, right? That's besides using Google Photos. I'm actually not a fan of Google Photos myself. So that might be something as a suggestion for you. Once you get a copy of the workbook, just take a look there and see if that will be helpful to you. And also thank you for your suggestions about next door, buy nothing, neighborhood garage sales. Those are all the items that I have listed as well on how you can get rid of things as well. So we definitely have tons of resources. And Chris said, thank you for helpful presentation. Absolutely, it's our pleasure. All right, before we wrap up, we just have a few minutes left. Anyone else has anything that they want to ask Cindy? Anyone else that has anything else? All right, well, everybody's this workshop is being recorded. So you are going to get a YouTube link to this video. You can watch it again, as well as a copy of the workbook that I try to make as detailed as possible to help you. So that way you don't feel overwhelmed, where you have the resources that are local to help you do this. Cindy, thank you so much again for joining me. I really appreciate your advice and expertise. And okay, JC has one more question. Do you have food storage tips to make food last longer?
Freezer a lot.
Freezer, yeah.
It's pretty much everything. My husband is a big gardener, and in self-defense, I had to learn how to can. So you can actually can meat, you can dry goods, you can do all that kind of stuff. But I have a chest freezer in my garage and I pack that full.
Great investment, actually. I have a chest freezer actually behind me in the closet because I don't have a garage, but yes, chest freezer is amazing. So yep, I agree. All right, everybody. Thank you so much again, Cindy. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And you will have Cindy's contact information in the workbook as well as the video if you want to reach out to her, if you need her advice or help. And hopefully we will see you again at a different workshop. Until then, thank you so much and have a good afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.